about the ultimate question, why do bad things happen to good people?
Yeah. You know, most of the time when people ask that question, they're not asking it just sort of theoretically. They're asking it because something personally happened in their lives.
Right.
And at least when I'm in conversations with people, I always want to sort of dig a little deeper and kind of understand that. Because sometimes when people are asking that question, they're not really asking for an answer. They're asking for someone to listen to the hurt and pain that they've gone through. And ultimately, when it comes down to someone's specific sort of pain and suffering, I don't know why God allowed it. So God doesn't usually send sort of a message, here's why I'm allowing this pain and suffering in your life. Now, we might recognize years later sort of the purpose and the value to it, but oftentimes we don't know it in that time. But of course, that doesn't mean that there isn't a meaning or purpose just because God doesn't share it. So, and one of the little examples I use in the book is if we're playing chess with a grandmaster and, you know, we get a couple moves in and they make a move, we may not understand that move. In fact, if they try to explain it to us, we may not be able to understand it. But that doesn't mean there's not a lot of great purpose to that move, and that it could be a winning move even. So God sometimes can allow this pain and suffering in our lives that we can't understand, but that doesn't mean that he's not making a good move in our lives.
John, what do you say when it's, you know, people will say this all the time, well, I don't really need religion. I don't really need God. I'm just going to be good. I'll just be good. Well, you know, as long as we're being good to one another, we're going to be fine. I don't really need religion.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm glad that they want to be good. That's better than the alternative, right? So it's better than stealing, killing, and pillaging. So I'm glad they want to be good, and I think that God wants us to be good as well. But God also recognizes that our best efforts will never be good enough. And you know, one of the things that I found to sort of be very sort of impressive to people is when I share with them, hey, what if in the last if you're sitting in a space where there's a lot of empty walls, maybe you're in a restaurant, maybe we're a family, and all of a sudden on the walls all around the room, all your thoughts and deeds and misdeeds and are suddenly written on all of those walls. What would you do? And they say, I would run from the room. When they recognize that, oh my goodness, if everything was really put out there, maybe I'm not so good after all. And so even though we might think of ourselves as good relative to other people, when really all of it's laid out there, I'm not so sure that any of us would feel all that comfortable before God. We wouldn't even feel comfortable in front of our friends if all of our life was sort of laid out on the walls publicly. So we sort of see it that way. We think, well, maybe we need the mercy of God. Maybe we need his grace. And so yes, be good, that's great. But recognize that our goodness will always fall short of what God is looking for, and so looked for his mercy and grace as well.